Do you need a high IQ score to be a smart person? It's been a long time since many scientists have discovered other factors that are also important and significantly affect your intelligence, like the education that you have received or the amount of general information that your brain has been exposed to during your childhood, and so on. But almost all experts agree that IQ score is still one of the best measurements to determine whether somebody is a genius, a smart person, or just average. The IQ scores are usually classified in 7 categories all around the world. Most of us are somewhere around here, yeah, just average. But we are still very smart compared to our parents, right? Well, not exactly. In 1978, James Flynn, a university professor based in New Zealand, came across an article published by some other professor from the University of California. The article openly claimed that white people have better IQ scores and more intelligence because of their genetics.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yes, I know, my dear Asian friends. But it was 1978 when James Flynn found this article. The article also had some biased and stupid stuff to say about the level of intelligence among the African American people. Only a few pages through the article, Professor James Flynn realized that this is probably a research sponsored by some serious racist rich people who liked the idea of describing African Americans as a genetically inferior race. The sad thing is that during this time there was also other academic voices that were trying to do the same thing, and many people were hearing about the so-called scientific evidence that white people are just smarter. James Flynn was pissed off after reading the article. He knew it was totally biased, but it was published by University of California and there was only one way to stop such nonsense. Flynn changed the total course of his career and focused on a massive international research that changed everything we know about IQ scores today. First, he debunked the absurd idea of genetic differences causing different levels of intelligence. He proved that environmental factors affect a person's IQ much more than genetics. Then he started a much more important research that led to the discovery of the Flynn effect. He found out that all IQ tests done during decades have one common problem. They are modified over and over again based on the progress in the industry and education. So each generation that were taking the test would face a more difficult test and their IQ scores always remained around 100. Flynn realized that if you take an IQ test designed in 1978 and put it in front of 25-year-olds, their average score is always around 100. But if you put the same test in front of people who are 45 years old, the average will be around 94. But those people also took IQ tests when they were 25 years old and their score was 100. So why did their score go down? The answer is simple, because the test that they took in the past was different. It was simpler. You see, after 1930, the industrial and educational progress was so fast in the West that they had to design better, more complicated IQ tests each few years. But in reality, it was all a mistake. Flynn found out that if you design a general IQ test and give it to different generations, you will find out that people are getting smarter. In fact, the results clearly showed that people are getting smarter by 3 IQ points each decade. Many criticized these results and said that people are not getting smarter, they are just getting better education. So Flynn took the research to another level. He started using a different IQ test that used visual patterns instead of words to make sure that everyone with any level of education can answer the question. You see, even if you cannot read or write and you have never gone to school, if you are smart enough, you can still clearly see that shapes are moving in some direction. That's how you know what the last one will look like. Flynn studied such tests from 14 different countries and the result was clear. IQ scores always increased from one generation to the next. This phenomenon was also called the Flynn effect, and scientists all around the world started studying the IQ scores, and all the evidence showed that the Flynn effect is real. People were getting smarter by 3 IQ points each decade. So if in some country the average IQ was 85 among the people born in 1930s, it was 88 among the ones born in 1940s, and 91 among the people born in the 50s, and so on. The Flynn effect showed that we've been getting smarter every decade for at least 6 decades straight. Everyone thought if we are getting smarter for 6 decades until 1975, it will probably continue after that. So people watching this video are actually smarter than their parents, right? Well, it depends. If your parents are born around 1975 and you're born around 2002, you're probably dumber than them. Let me explain. The Flynn effect was accepted all around the world in 1978, and it was based on people born from 1910 to 1970. But something happened after that nobody really knows how to explain. In 2018, lots of news headlines came out saying that the Norwegian people are getting lower and lower IQ scores each year. Norwegian scientists analyzed data from over 730,000 IQ tests done between 1970 to 2009. The result was clear. People were getting lower and lower scores each year. There was a 7-point difference in IQ score between one generation to the next. It's clear that the average IQ in developed countries has been steadily decreasing each year among generations born after 1975. But why? Studies were done in Denmark and Finland with the same results. Then United Kingdom, Germany and France said their IQ scores have been dropping too. Soon this theory came out that there might be a peak in human intelligence and we might be getting dumber from now on. Many scientists have tried to give explanations. Some blame it on the obsession with internet-related products. That can be considered true if the IQ had started to go down after 2000 or 2010, but there were no smartphones or internet during 70s and 80s. Others believe that there's been a radical shift in our diet after the 70s, and we just suddenly started to eat unhealthy during that time, and the new diet has affected IQ development in children. Well, it is proved that your diet directly affects your intelligence, but the decline in average intelligence has been too fast to be caused by that juicy double burger. Don't worry, you can order another one. Another explanation which seemed more accurate is that the school system in developed countries stopped the emphasis on memorization of everything. When a child tries to memorize lots of stuff all the time, their intelligence actually develops much better. They might end up not understanding many school subjects because they just memorized all of it for the test. But the act of intense memorization itself puts your brain under enough pressure to develop more intelligence. After 1970s, school system realized the students aren't really learning something, they're just memorizing as much as they can. So they shifted the emphasis from memorization to meaningful learning. So now that we know each generation is getting dumber in developed countries, should we worry about it? The rise in artificial intelligence and all data-driven apps on our phones will help each generation to become more efficient and better at almost everything. 20 years ago, you needed to know everything. If you couldn't remember who won the last NBA season, you couldn't simply Google it. You had to call a friend and ask. Well, you'd probably lose that friend forever then. But today you can just search about it online in a few seconds. You can then use that information online and then forget about it all again till the next time that you need it. We have so many social media apps that might be damaging our attention span or our intelligence. But we also have so many useful tools that didn't exist 20 years ago. They just make our lives better. We can continue using them and become slightly dumber each generation. But the problem is, if the current decline in IQ scores continue, it can eventually reach a level that's described as borderline by 2060s, which means that the average person in a developed country will be totally dependent on tools for their everyday simple tasks. So much that, for example, cooking would be something extraordinary that only smart and skillful people could do. And I'm talking about making an omelette. That to us would seem very extreme, but in 2060s that can actually be normal. Imagine if somebody told your great-great-grandfather that his descendants won't be able to catch a chicken. He would have been shocked. Such a shame. My descendants are going to be a bunch of losers. But the reality is the ability to catch a chicken or to milk a cow or anything similar to that has become completely dispensable today. Why should I know how to milk a cow? The question is similar to what our next generation are going to say in 2060s. Why should I know how to make an omelette? The conclusion is people stop developing an ability slowly if they don't need it anymore. We lost the need for many physical abilities during 1950s and 60s with the crazy home appliances that were coming out every day. During 70s, we slowly began to lose the need to be mentally sharp and focused because of the changes in the school system. In the 80s, home computers came around, and then in the 90s, we started using the internet. Then the smartphones, apps, Internet of Things, AI. You can see what I'm trying to say here. Being smart is becoming less and less important as we move forward in technology. What's the point of solving those problems in the IQ test when you have artificial intelligence? You can take a photo of the problem, then click and wait 2 seconds until you get the right answer. The answer might not be in your brain, but it's in your pocket all the time. So no, the lack of human intelligence is not going to result in lack of innovation and slow down improvement in the future. The difference will be most of it will be done by artificial intelligence rather than genius people like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. Smart celebrities will be figures like Sophia.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us work together to create you.
Still better than the Kardashians, right?
Billy and Billy, stop. Okay, stop, you two. Shut your up. Sleeping. Guys, stop.
Hi, Sophia.
Hello, Jimmy.
My God. Do you know where you are?
Of course. I'm in New York City, and I'm on my favorite show, The Tonight Show.